The trajectory of George Miller's career is full of surprising turns. A twin son of Greek immigrants, George Miller was born in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. He attended medical school and made short films on the side. In 1971, he met his producing partner, Byron Kennedy, before completing his residency in Sydney. Kennedy and Miller would work together for many years under the Kennedy-Miller Productions. Kennedy died in a helicopter crash in 1983 and was unable to complete the Mad Max trilogy alongside Miller. George went on to direct The Witches of Eastwick and Lorenzo's Oil. In 1995, Miller wrote and produced Babe, and even wrote and directed its sequel, Babe, Pig in the City. George Miller was also the writer and director of Happy Feet and its sequel. In 2007, Miller was tasked with bringing the Justice League to the big screen, but the project ultimately fell apart due to the writer's strike. We may still get to see Miller's take on the DC Cinematic Universe, as he has been added to the 2017 Justice League as producer. He is even rumored to be attached to a Green Lantern project. 3 decades after the release of Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, Miller returned to the dystopian world of Max Rockatansky with 2015's Mad Max Fury Road. Greetings, citizens, and welcome to another adventure of the Real Comic Heroes podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Patrick. Yeah, we're here to talk about Mad Max.
Hell yeah.
The OG version. From
right.
1979, was it?
Yeah. I think over here, it was released in 1980, so it's kind of, it's kind of a blurry, like, when, we could have put it in, a movie ago, or, we could wait until we're in the 80s, but I think its official release is 79, so...
That makes sense. I don't think Australia had steam power until the 80s.
Right,
so they couldn't get the movie over here.
Yeah, slow boat.
Yeah, island full of criminals, all that.
Yeah, those degenerates.
And that kind of was like the funny thing about this movie. I was like, this doesn't seem like it's that far off from being real Australia. I'm like, it doesn't look that bad.
Yeah, because it definitely, there's nobody in this movie. The 30 actors that they might have, of just extras and stuff, but there's no, like, cities that they go to, or, so it's easy to pull off the barren wasteland dystopian, near future, so.
Yeah, I didn't think it was that bad, because some people were living in decent houses.
Well, and they still had a diner,
Yeah.
So it's definitely that, like, things have just started to turn south. So
yeah, because I'm used to, like, dystopian Walking Dead.
Right.
Not dystopian. We just have everything is barren and there are like dirty road pirates and yeah. Yeah, I remember thinking like the Hall of Justice they have is kind of empty.
Yeah. I think probably until a few months ago, I had never seen any of the Mad Max movies.
Mm-hmm.
So in my head, I just thought they were all like Mad Max 2 and Thunderdome, like, the crazy outfits that people wear and like, essentially everyone's like barbarians and, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking like gas shortage and...
Yeah.
But this did not have that.
Well, it's funny, I read when I was, researching stuff for the movie, I came across a quote by one of the screenwriter, and it was around the gas shortage, like in 1973, and he said, a couple of oil strikes that hit many pumps revealed the ferocity in which Australians would defend their right to fill a tank. Long queues formed at the stations with petrol, and anyone who tried to sneak ahead in the queue met raw violence.
Nice.
So...
I like the term raw violence.
I know.
Nice.
So, let's see. I guess normally we'll start off with a an IMDb synopsis, which is pretty succinct. It just says, in a self-destructing world, a vengeful Australian policeman sets out to stop a violent motorcycle gang. So, not much else.
Yeah, but that's not, that's just like the end of the movie, though.
I know.
Like the beginning, he's kind of wishy-washy.
I know.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't really expecting that either.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be, like, just angry the whole time, but he was pretty happy-go-lucky for the movie.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that, yeah.
Yeah, this movie definitely threw me off from what I was expecting.
Oh, yeah.
Because the first name I saw in these crappy credits at the beginning, like the opening sequence, was Toe Cutter.
I know.
I was like, Toe Cutter? What the hell?
Yeah.
Oh.
I like that everyone has Jolly Pirate nicknames.
Yeah. Yeah, it was like, I think there was a Johnny the Boy, or...
Johnny the Boy, yeah. Bubba Zametti.
And
I think those were like the main guys.
Yeah.
There were some other guys had names, but those were... And then there's Goose, who was...
Yeah. His wingman on the motorcycle.
Yeah. And then the weird, like, always bare-chested, police chief.
I know. That was awesome. It was a good twist on the police chief.
Yeah.
It comes into play really good later on when they are dealing with the guy they took in.
Yeah.
So, okay, so you want to get into the first act?
Definitely.
Okay, so it's kind of a weird one because we both sort of thought the first act ended at the same point, which is like 70% of the movie, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's definitely a bulky first act.
Yeah, it's just hard to cut it anywhere else because for the most part, there's like a lot of driving sequences and
right.
There's just a lot of dead time at the beginning of this movie, unfortunately. There's not much development. It's very slow.
See, I think the first act is fairly well paced. I think after the first act, it slows way down.
Oh, yeah, I mean, second act is excruciating, except...
Yeah.
Well, no, it's got its moments, too, just for stress, like stress when something's going to happen.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But, yeah, did you want to go over 3 points that you wanted to mention for the first act?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay.
What do you got?
Well, let's see. I got my favorite character of the movie.
Okay.
Big Bumper, I think his name is.
Big Bopper.
Bopper? Okay.
Yeah.
That dude was awesome.
the bumbling, driver.
Well, no, the bumbling driver is that guy that got hurt, but Big Bumper or Bopper, whatever the hell his name is the guy that got in the driver's seat after they crashed the first time.
Yeah.
And he was all like vibrato and like way overconfident. And
I like his. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and I like. It was weird, but I like that the bad guy, in this case, Knight Rider. Yeah. They were talking back and forth, like the cops and the bad guy.
Right. Well, it took me a while to figure that out, and then I was paying attention to the radio chatter, the dispatcher or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And she says that someone stole the Pursuit Special, which is the cop car. So he's in a police car, and that didn't.
I didn't realize that.
Right? Yeah, I missed that too the first couple times, but the last time I watched it, I'd heard that, and then I realized why they were in radio communication between the bad guy and good guy.
I just assumed he got on the same channel, like was able to figure it out. Okay. But I loved it. It was awesome.
I know the first, the car chase, is amazing.
Yeah.
I think they do a good job of like keeping Mad Max out of the pursuit, just long enough. But I like the foreshadowing of the wreck that they all get into, because it's like they drive through town and you see the camper van, the baby stroller, the van. It's like it reminded me of Wayne's World 2, I think, when they set up the car crash. Like the guy's loading the chicken truck and the watermelon stand, and the guy's walking back and forth with the plate glass. It's like they're just setting up that inevitable car wreck that's going to happen later.
Oh yeah, and it's the only place in existence for like miles.
Yeah,
and they just happen to crash into it because everything else is just barren road.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed the beginning of this movie a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. The other cop that's with the Big Bopper, the one that was first driving, when they hit the van, I think they hit the camper or they hit the van, and he says, "We're really going to get it this time." He had his indicator on. I just love that line. I don't know.
That was, he was sort of like, I saw him as like the rookie.
Yeah.
Like the newbie to the force, because he was just so like kind of dim.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed him thoroughly when he had the little voice box.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah.
He cut his vocal cords in the car accident. This is a very bizarre movie.
It really is.
I am the Night Rider. I'm a fuel-injected suicide machine. I'm a rocker. I'm a roller. I'm a controller. I'm the Night Rider, baby. And we ain't never coming back.
I think my favorite part of that opening chase is after Max and Knight Rider play chicken, is when Knight Rider just loses it and he starts breaking down.
Yeah, that was quick.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. It didn't seem that scary.
Well, I think what it was is he realized, because the entire time he's been talking a big game, and instantly, in that split second, he realized that he chickened out. He didn't have what it took. So I think it was just that instant realization that he's not who he, thought he was, Yeah,
because he just starts crying.
I know. Yeah, that's awesome.
Like the girl was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?"
I know.
I was like, "Holy hell, that changed drastically."
Yeah.
And it looked like his car had like Batmobile jets, because I remember fire shooting out the back.
Yeah.
I was like, "What the hell is that?"
Yeah.
But maybe that's how the special unit is. I don't know.
Yeah.
They got nitrous tanks.
That's true. Yeah. The car sequences, are pretty outstanding.
Yeah.
Throughout the movie, but yeah, definitely that wreck is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I like his car was the Interceptor.
Yeah.
That was cool. It's just a sweet name for a car.
Yeah.
Let's see. Speaking of side cars, I really like the sidecar that his buddy Goose was in.
Yeah, in the
after he broke his leg.
Right.
As soon as I saw that guy on a motorcycle, I'm like, oh, geez, he's gonna die.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, the motorcycles seem to hold up pretty well in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought people would just start slamming on brakes and knocking motorcycles all over.
Right.
But whatever.
Poor bastard.
The Knight Rider. That is his name. The Knight Rider.
The Knight Rider.
Remember him when you look at the night sky.
I will.
I think I want to talk about when we get to meet Toe Cutter.
Oh, yeah.
Him and his gang are unlike anything I think we've seen so far, as far as villains go, and they're psychotic and hyper violent, but slightly flamboyant at the same time.
Lots of eye makeup.
Yeah, lots of eye makeup.
And
Like, they are just, they terrorize everywhere they go. Like, it's different than, who have we seen so far? Lex Luthor and Bond villains. Like, these guys are...
Yeah, they're not stormtroopers.
Right, yeah,
they're a different kind of evil. They're not really evil, they're just mad.
Right.
And it's like a mental break in these guys, and it's scary because you don't know what they're going to do.
Right, they're like nihilists,
Anytime I hear that word, I think of the Big Lebowski.
I know.
Oh, and his name's Toe Cutter. Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah, shit. Good call.
Oh, man. Yeah, but
I was actually...
Yeah, go.
I was thinking of Top Gun when I watched it earlier because...
I wrote the same thing.
Well, partially because Knight Rider loses it, in a moment of, like, when he's top of his game, but then, like, Cougar in Top Gun when he's, confronted at the beginning of the movie and he loses it,
Yeah.
And then, obviously, the Goose as the wingman.
Yeah. Both had a nasty demise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down Goose is a nickname I do not want.
Right. That's a bad omen.
Jinx. I was going to say that Toe Cutter kind of reminded me of, what's his name from Police Academy? Crap. I'm losing it. Zed, I think his name is.
Oh, Bobcat Goldthwait?
Bobcat Goldthwait, yeah.
Okay.
But his character, like, the look of them kind of was similar with, like, the eye makeup and the crazy hair. And
yeah.
I mean, obviously they have drastically different voices, but...
Sure.
I don't know, that's the first thing that came into my mind when I saw Toe Cutter.
Sure.
But yeah, there were, I'm pretty sure that the first guy that they got a hold of that was in that car...
Yeah.
Pretty sure they did something to his butt.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it looked red when he was running through the field.
I thought so too. Yeah, I definitely think they're equal opportunity, like it's I don't know if that's just George Miller, his take on the future, like, I don't know. But it's
so weird.
It's strange to see, yeah, but I mean, whatever. They're
I think the phrase is any port in a storm.
Right, yeah. That's cool.
Hey, it's a dystopian future. You gotta get some while you can.
Yeah, they're equal opportunity. They'll rape and pillage, it doesn't matter who,
That's right.
But, I mean, they left that girl, like, she was broken.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
she was on a leash.
Her mind was... And that's what I mean as far as, like, they just terrorize, I don't know. It's interesting. It's unique, I think, just in what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
So, I think Goose is crazier than Max.
Really?
I mean, think about it. In the first act, we don't see Max do anything crazy. He runs, Knight Rider off the road and looks genuinely concerned. Like when he gets out of his car and he sees that Knight Rider's died, wrecked in a big fireball. He's not like happy about it. He's actually shows what looks to be remorse. And then when he's with his wife, genuinely seems kind of sad about it. But then we meet Goose and he's just unhinged.
See, I just think he's like an adrenaline junkie.
Yeah, but I think he starts the whole cycle of revenge.
Oh, yeah.
That it's his fault, with him going after, Johnny. Like, he's kind of the one that kicks everything in motion.
Yeah, but I was on his side.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, you got the Weasley lawyers getting the crazy douchebag off for, like, no good reason, really.
Yeah.
And you got to see the inner workings of the four-man police department.
Yeah, the Hall of Justice with its crazy music when they...
Yeah, that's what made me think of it, was the music.
Yeah. Well, speaking of music, did you like when they started playing the sax? And then you see that she's actually the one playing sax? Like, I just thought that was...
Yeah, I wrote down...
kind of special.
Random saxophone scene.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, what was that for?
And it's strange seeing Max, like, with a family, because that's just not what I would have expected to see, you know, that he's a family man, you know.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense that, this is technically like it's what starts him down this path that, he eventually is on, and obviously he's got to lose everything that he cares about to get there, so.
Yeah, well, first thing he loses is his boy Goose.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure how it happened, but he wrecks randomly.
Well,
I don't know if it was like a setup with a bum bike or a bum car or whatever the hell it was. Because his bike broke down, and then he got into a car with his bike, and then they ran him off the road.
Right.
And flipped the car, and he's stuck in it. It was a weird sequence of how they planned that.
It is. Yeah, because I think they sabotaged his bike when he was, like, outside the bar or whatever, because he was listening to that lounge singer. And it's like, just this future can't be too bad. They still have lounge singers. But I think that's when they mess with his bike, and then...
Yeah,
it's strange that they go to the effort of messing with his bike and then waiting for him to wreck, and then waiting for him to, get a lift or whatever.
Yeah, it was weird.
But
it came to the point where Johnny Boy, or whatever the hell his name was, Johnny the Boy, Toe Cutter was, I don't know if Johnny the Boy was kind of like a new recruit or something.
I think so.
It seemed like he was making him prove his worth or something.
I think based on what Bubba says, because Bubba says something about, he's never going to be the Knight Rider or something like that. Yeah. Like, I think it's a Toe Cutter is trying to make him like second in command or maybe third, because I think there's a rank,
Yeah.
I get the feeling that it's Toe Cutter, then Bubba, then it was Knight Rider.
Yeah.
And now, he wants Johnny the Boy to become the new that third lieutenant or whatever. And it's kind of unclear as to why, because he was still back at that car wreck and like drugged out of his mind, but then he had the girl was like tethered to his leg or something.
I think
so. I don't know why he was still back at the car wreck, like why they left him behind.
Well, they said he did it again,
right?
Which means he must do this, like get wrecked out of his mind, and like, he's obviously been in trouble with like the law before.
Sure.
And he must have some lawyers on standby because they got him pretty quick. So it seems like he's almost like trying to get caught. It's like part of the fun.
Could be.
Getting caught and then getting away.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he sort of doesn't want to torch Goose.
Yeah.
But Toe Cutter says otherwise.
Right.
And then he goes up in flames.
Oh, yeah.
And we get to, I think, the first crack in Mad Max's armor, where he sees Goose, and I think he says that's not him anymore, or that thing isn't him, or something like that.
Which makes me, it's like, because they never even really showed him, so it's kind of like, well, I kind of want to see, like, how bad was he, It's like, he must have been pretty bad to make Max, like, basically just reject that's even his friend,
But, yeah, I think we both agreed that was the end of the first act.
Yeah.
It sort of marked the change in Max.
Yeah. And then there's that kind of transition where he talks to the chief about wanting to leave the force and all that, but... Oh,
yeah. Talks to shirtless O'Hallahan or whatever that.
Yeah. Phantom Dan McConaughey. He reminds me of the guy that Indiana Jones fights on the runway.
Oh, yeah. He looked like an old-timey boxer.
Right.
He had like a epic mustache. And just like
a pugilist.
Yeah, just a big dude.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So, Act 2.
Give me a reason.
I'm scared, Thief. You know why? That red circus out there. I'm beginning to enjoy it.
What is this, Bonnie Week?
Look, any longer out on that road and I'm one of them, A terminal crazy. Only I got a bronze badge to say I'm one of the good guys. You know what I'm trying to say?
I tell you what I'll do. Take off for a few weeks, huh? Grow yourself a beard. Draw flies. Just think of that for a while. You still feel the same way when you come back? Well, it's okay by me.
Yeah, he says something here about wanting to leave to avoid becoming like the people he chases. But it's kind of what I was talking about earlier. Like, there hasn't been anything yet to show that he's going crazy or going, full of rage. There's no. Yeah. He's not mad. He's not like them yet. So
I think he's worried he's going to be because he's so pissed off about what happened.
Sure. Yeah.
And then he goes on his happy good time montage with the family.
Family vacation.
Yeah. And it was the whole time I just kept waiting for something horrible to happen.
Right. And it takes a long time for that.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of one of the weird parts of the movie for me because it's totally random that she runs into a toe cutter.
Yeah.
And I don't mean the physically running into him, but just
like at a random ice cream area.
Yeah. And it's like, other than going north, they don't know where they're going to be or where they're going, or that she is even connected to him.
I wrote down, does going north allow somebody to find a group of people that quickly?
I mean, maybe.
I was like, how small is Australia?
Or just how, maybe it's so expansive and, there's nowhere else to go but this one place, so maybe that's why they know to go there.
I guess, but, she was even at the beach that was, a ways from the actual farmstead or whatever it was.
Yeah. It's, I had a really hard time judging how far things were from, when they traveled, were they going a couple days away? It was really hard for me to get a sense of where things were in relation to, where they were going or whatever.
Yeah, it made it seem like Australia was the size of Rhode Island.
Right.
It didn't seem like it was all that big because everything looked the same.
Right.
But I guess we could talk about the meeting of Toe Cutter and Jess.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed the ice cream scene.
Yeah.
The subsequent groin kick.
Okay.
I really liked that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't see it coming.
Oh,
I thought she was just going to be screwed.
Sure.
And I love that the baby's just thrown in the back of the car.
Oh, man, this kid, he has no... He's just an afterthought.
Yeah, it's awesome. It gets to my favorite, poor choice moment of the movie.
Okay.
With the guy in the chain.
Oh.
And he, chains onto the car.
Right, yeah.
And it rips his hand off.
Yeah.
I was like, I bet he regrets that move.
I forget what the name is, but, there's a part where Toe Cutter says, so-and-so would like his hand back.
I don't know. I'm looking at the names now. There's Mudguts, Sarcy, Ziggy. It might be Ziggy.
Might be.
I don't know. But yeah, I love that scene. I was like, oh, he just lost that hand. It was awesome. It sort of ends with her getting back to Max, talking shop with the tire guy or whatever.
Yeah, it's just, unfortunately, there's not a lot for me to talk about in this second act. I mean,
it's like we were saying, it's like a good 70% of the movie is the first act, and then it's
right,
nothing at the second act, and then the third act, which is basically the end. It's kind of,
because didn't they get a dog at some point?
I think so. I don't know. This was such a weird ending towards the.
I mean, because my notes start to blend into where we decided that the third act starts. So, I mean.
Oh, there was I guess that's already in that part too. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else to really talk about in Act 2, because it's really, all it is set up for...
despair.
Yeah, I mean, and giving the time to show that he's, going away with his family and trying to be a family man and all that, so... I mean, what else can they do, you know, aside from the little glimpses we get of Toe Cutter and the gang? Like,
yeah. So the next note I have is the third act for awesome chase scene in the woods.
Right, that scene it's creepy and it is scary.
Yeah.
It's kind of reminded me of the slightly of the dog chase in the woods in
Bond.
Which Bond? Which one was it? We just watched it.
We just watched every Bond movie.
Yeah. Oh, Moonraker.
That's right.
Yeah. Just because of the way it's shot, it's really eerie, and you don't know, because these guys are crazy, and you don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, you just hear them.
Oh, that's right. They did have a dog because they kill the dog and they hang it up in the tree.
Yeah.
So.
Because she's hanging out at the beach before this and hears the dog barking, and then hears other noises and just starts booking it.
Right.
Yes, she did fall.
Yeah.
While running in the woods.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh, is the kid's name Sprock?
I wrote this down. It's actually Sprog.
Oh, okay.
Sprog. And I have to imagine that's a nickname. Like maybe it's some Australian nickname. I don't know. Or maybe it's a name. I don't.
Because in the credits he's listed as Toddler.
Oh, I think on my version I think it lists him as Sprog.
Really?
Maybe the Toddler is the one like at the first act when the part of the setup when you think that kid's gonna get hit.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's that Toddler.
Yeah, but I figure Sprog would have been up before him.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I was like, do they call him Sprock? I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
What the F off?
Okay. Let's see. And then, I think my favorite Toe Cutter scene is the other confrontation when they're like in that little shed or shed area at the house when they got the baby because she's terrified. She's in the house. And then all of a sudden she remembers the kid.
Yeah, I think she's a bit distraught and doesn't know like her surroundings.
It's like this part of the movie, the whole time I'm like, who's watching this kid? Like, he's not with Max. He's not with the grandmother. I think she was the grandmother.
Yeah, Grandma Max, I call her.
She's not with Jess, so it's like, where's this kid? And then she remembers him and then finds him, in Toe Cutter's hands. Or in one of his guys. I don't remember which one.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he is fascinating to watch. Just.
Oh, yeah. It's, he's a weird villain.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of almost, I don't know, he's kind of childlike.
Yeah.
In his, like, emotions.
Right.
So you don't know when his temper's going to kick in.
Right. And he's like... At the train station at the beginning when he's, they're going to claim Knight Rider's body and, he just flips out on the guy, like, when he says, like, poor bastard, and then he grabs his face and tells him, he's the Knight Rider, and think of him when you look at the night sky. And it's like, I mean, it's like, what are you on, buddy?
There is a thing I wrote down that in that barn scene.
Yeah.
Where Grandma Max pulls out the gun.
Oh, yeah.
And then gets them to all go in the barn.
Right.
That rickety-ass door keeps them in for so long.
Yeah, a little too long.
That thing was ready to fall apart at a moment.
Right.
I was like, come on, Toe Cutter.
Yeah.
But, it was kind of fun watching Grandma come in and save the day.
Yeah.
God, I'm trying to remember what I meant by this. Let's
hear it.
I just wrote down a brutal start with bridge crash.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. It's when Max starts to chase down and hunt all the bikers.
Oh, okay, so I'm way flash forwarding. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about the big part, of this, the first part of this third act.
Yeah, Max is out in the woods looking for everybody while all this is going on at the barn.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
then
Grandma gets the jump on him, and they all get in the car.
Right.
Without Max.
Which, breaks down because they drove through, like, the fence, and part of the fence post got lodged in the radiator or something.
Yeah.
you know.
And the motorcycle's caught up to them.
Right.
And Grandma tells him to run. How about not in the middle of the road?
Yeah, I kept thinking, like, take off into the field. I mean, and that wouldn't have necessarily helped much, but because these bikes apparently are semi-off-road, you know, capable, so the field wouldn't have slowed him down too much, but it's still better than a straightaway.
Yeah. And literally in the middle of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll let you break everyone's heart.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's tough to say, but I mean, there's nothing else to say that you know, Jess and Sprague just get run down. I guess they both just get run over. I don't. They cut. You know, they do some editing and quick cuts, so it's not super clear how they. Or I guess she doesn't die right away because she's in the hospital later, right? When Max, you know, there's a scene of him in the hospital with her.
Yeah, she's in the hospital. The baby, they say, the doctor says that the baby's gone. Like he's listening in on the conversation while he's out in the hallway. And
I think they basically say that she's
it's about donating organs they were talking about, I think.
Right. Yeah.
But I remember when he was running because he ran the whole way.
Oh man, yeah.
And he saw something in the road and Grandma Max crying.
Yeah.
I immediately thought of the movie Seven.
Oh
like,
shit! Yeah.
Box? And I was thinking, what's in the road?
Right.
So it gave me that's what I flashed to as soon as I saw his face.
I mean, obviously this came first, but it made me think of the Thomas Jane Punisher movie.
I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. It's got a similar scene where actually a very similar scene where he's, you know, taking out, you know, armed bad guys at like the beach house, and he's distracted with all that. And then when he catches up to his family who have, you know, run down to a dock, as he's running down the dock, it's, you know, he sees basically his wife and kid laying there, and it's you know, it's very similar to this now that I've seen this. I know, you know, maybe it was like an homage to that, but it's, you know, always stuck with me, so.
Yeah.
It's a pretty powerful little scene.
Yeah.
This, you know, in both, but in Mad Max especially.
Yeah. That's, do you want to talk about his revenge plot?
Yeah, I mean, he breaks in, or I don't know if you say breaks in, but he takes the Pursuit Special, which is the last of the V8s, you know, this badass police car.
Well, I think he does break it, because didn't he quit?
Yeah, I mean, technically he was done.
Yeah.
And actually, in part of the radio chatter that we hear later on, the dispatcher says something. I barely heard it, but she says, "We believe he's in a Pursuit Special, and he might be committing, I forget what they call it, like a 30C or whatever code they give to, you know, homicides or whatever." It's real faint, like and that's one of the things about this movie is there's almost constant radio chatter.
Oh yeah, when you're in the cars.
Yeah. So yeah, he gears up. He you know, and just starts hunting these guys.
Oh yeah.
I do like before a little bit of that. They have I think of them as pirates, you know, because they're a gang, whatever. But I like the scene of them stealing the gas from the gas truck.
Yeah.
That was a really cool, you know, didn't need to have it, but it was just a cool example of kind of how these guys just live on the road. Like they don't have a base of operations. They're just, you know, the road pirates. So
yeah, that's what I wrote down was road pirates.
Nice.
Yeah, because they're sort of like scavengers.
Yeah.
They're just like infiltrating the few towns in this desolate Australia.
Yeah.
Taking them over, taking gas when they need it.
Yeah.
And, he, it's kind of like, well, it happens so quick.
I know.
It's not as satisfying to me.
Yeah, that was, in rewatching it, it was a little like, man, it's all done in like 20 minutes, and they make short work of. I like the scenes of him like stalking these guys and kind of ambushing them, and like he takes out a few of them, plays chicken with them, wrecks a couple of them, and then he lays in wait, and then he sees. One of the problems I had with it was you can't really tell who's who once they're on the bikes. I mean, Toe Cutter's a little distinctive, but as he's taking out gang members,
like the bridge scene where
he
takes out a whole swath of them in one swoop. But the Toe Cutter scene, man, was that not satisfying at all?
I think it might have been if. Well, actually, what I wrote down is I think it would have been satisfying if that would have been Johnny the Boy's death, and then if you basically would have flip-flopped Johnny the Boy and Toe Cutter. It doesn't make sense to me why he runs down Toe Cutter, and it was a really cool, death scene, because he just gets smashed by this truck and run over, but it's weird to have your main bad guy get,
I think it's more, it made sense to me, because he thought that Johnny the Boy was the one that did in Goose, but at the same time, you have to think that isn't Toe Cutter the one responsible for your family's death?
Exactly. Yeah, I think his Goose was lower on his list of revenge.
But I think he killed them in the way they killed his people. Like he ran down Toe Cutter.
Yeah, I guess so.
Burnt up Johnny the Boy.
That's true.
That's the only way I could make sense of it.
Yeah.
Because, I was very not too satisfied with the way Toe Cutter and him did battle.
Yeah, I think maybe if they just swapped the two, either in order or... I think it would have gone a long way. But I did notice that once he kills... Or, once he kills Toe Cutter, as he drives by, this is another... It kind of mirrors what happened in the beginning when Knight Rider died in a car crash, and Max, runs, kind of gets out of the car, and you see him visibly, not sad, but remorseful. But then, in this instance, with Toe Cutter, he just stays in the car, and he just slowly drives by as, this carnage just happened, and there's no expression on his face. He's completely devoid of any emotion. So I think it's a good mirror to where he started and where he ends up.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Then we get that weird night driving scene where he's kind of dipping in and out of consciousness because we didn't
been hurt.
we didn't talk about it, but he got shot in the leg and then they ran over his arm, which was a cool ambush scene.
Yeah,
it was just strange to have that, nighttime driving between Toe Cutter and then Johnny. But I do like the ending with Johnny. I mean, it's a great scene.
What are you doing? I want to know what you're doing.
The chain in those handcuffs is high tensile steel. It'll take you 10 minutes to hack through it with this. Now, if you're lucky, you can hack through your ankle in 5 minutes. Go.
You're mad, man. You think I look silly, don't you? Don't bring this on me, man. Don't do this to me.
Yeah, I wrote down that it reminded me of the way he gave him an option. It reminded me of Saw.
Oh yeah, I thought of that as well. Yeah, he sets up this elaborate death device with the headlight that he's letting fill up with gasoline.
Yeah.
Because he knows that once it fills up, it's gonna. What does he do? Is it sparking or something?
Yeah,
or
is
there he knows that it'll take you this long to cut through the handcuffs, or it'll take you about this long to cut through your ankle. Either way, this car is gonna blow up in
2 minutes or something.
Yeah, so that's it's a good way to show how far he's come. He's killing these guys. He has no remorse. He's no longer.
Yeah, he's got nothing left.
Right.
I think they sensed that, and that's why Toe Cutter and Johnny Boy ran for it after the ambush.
Yeah.
Because he was still fighting, even after getting his arm
That's true, yeah.
And getting shot in the leg, he was still fighting them.
I love when Toe Cutter hisses at him.
Yeah, that was weird. But
yeah.
I guess it kind of made sense for the character.
Right. I think that was right after he blasted Bubba off the bike when he was, running towards him or riding towards him.
Yeah,
I mean,
Bubba didn't have a good ending.
No, and you could see the wire that pulled him off the bike. But it was so quick that it almost looks like it could have been blood splatter, like going through him, So I'll let that one slide because it kind of looks cool.
Yeah. Well, that pretty much wraps it up because it ends.
Yeah.
As soon as the car blows up.
Yeah, they don't waste time with we're wrapping this one up. So
it literally blows up and then credits.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously we'll talk more about it, but that covers most of my notes about the acts.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums up the movie. It's it's an oddly paced movie, so
really is
structured.
It's got that amazing, car action in the beginning and really good action at the end. But man, that middle section. And it is so weirdly balanced because that first act, there's so much. You got the car chase at the beginning, and then cut to his family life, and then it cuts to like kind of life in the precinct.
Yep, and then life in the gang.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Some random couple in a car that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of backstory to characters and introduce you to people.
And oddly, like none of it really sets up this dystopian world. Like it doesn't, it doesn't provide any information as to how it got this way. I think the unspoken thing it's all based on energy and gasoline and oil. That's what caused this entire breakdown of society, I guess. So
yeah, the whole time I was trying to figure out why this is supposed to be a dystopian future.
Right.
Because I was like, it just looks like a really poor section of Australia.
Yeah.
Like it's rural, so I mean.
Yeah.
I wasn't that watching this, I never thought, okay, this is like a dystopian future.
Right.
I just thought it was like a real rural area with a gang problem.
Right. The next ones are clearly dystopian future type. It's a big leap from where this one ends to where the next one starts. So
I must have seen the second one.
Okay.
Because I remember like desert.
Okay. Well, but in both the second and third one are both very desert centric.
Okay. Because I think that's what I was expecting, and I didn't get it.
Sure.
So I was really thrown off.
Same here. I mean, and like I said earlier, until a couple months ago, I'd never seen. I guess not a couple months ago. I think it was back in December, maybe. Because of all the buzz about that Fury Road got when it was basically coming out, on DVD or Blu-ray or whatever, I decided, I'll check it out. So, but I definitely wanted to start with the beginning, so I got them all at the library and watched all three of them, and then watched Fury Road. So it's like in 2 weeks, I basically did a crash course of all these movies. So
yeah, I mean, I'll have to see how the next few are then, because this was definitely something that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah. I think the next one, I think over here it's called The Road Warrior, or trying to remember, because it's Mad Max 2, but I think over here, because they figured no one had really seen Mad Max, so they couldn't call it Mad Max 2 in the States, so they just call it The Road Warrior. And there's like loose ties to the first movie, but you can basically go into it with a blank slate. And I think it's a better movie for sure. So that one will be fun to do.
Yeah, because like watching this movie, I couldn't think of how there'd be sequels because everybody's dead.
Right.
His family, his friends, his enemies—they're all dead. I was like, what the hell's the next one about?
Right.
So I guess that's how it can jump so drastically.
Yeah.
That's okay. So let's see. Do we want to do pros and cons then? Or what holds up, doesn't?
Do heroic and villainous and all that. I mean, that's not...
That's not going to be too hard to do, heroic and
no.
villainous, so we can probably skip that one.
Okay.
If you can't figure it out, people, you got big problems.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can go to, like, pros and cons.
Okay, yeah.
I'll let you go first.
I'm a really big fan of, like, cause and effect in movies. So this one has a really satisfying, like, and I wrote it down, so just the way I see it as far as how it keeps escalating. Max pursues Knight Rider. Knight Rider dies. The gang shows up because of that, which, you know, they start to terrorize. So Goose later attacks Johnny, which gets Goose killed. Max leaves because Goose gets killed, but then winds up running back into these guys and ultimately takes revenge on the gang. So it's like, I like that one thing leads to another, and this one, I don't know, just really, for me, just something I like in movies, that type of cause and effect. So this one was really, really fulfilled that, you know.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
that for me.
I was always confused if the gang knew who killed Knight Rider. I never really had a sense if they knew it was Max or not.
Right.
So the whole... I don't know how they made the connection.
Right.
Confused me.
I think maybe with the lawyers that Johnny the Boy had, or maybe in I mean, they would have had to have filed paperwork, right? Anytime that there's a...
Yeah, that's true. Oh.
I mean, I'm assuming they still fill out paperwork in the, you know...
I guess they could figure out since there's only 4 cops.
Yeah, exactly. So
I guess it wouldn't be that hard.
Right.
Okay.
Well, actually, I don't know, because when Jess and Max are watching the news and they talk about Knight Rider's death, she says, "You made the news again." So I don't know if they mentioned Max by name.
Yeah.
Because they didn't show us that they showed his name.
Yeah.
But she says that you made the news. So I don't know if she just means that, you know,
she knows
your work made the news, or, you know, whatever. So.
Okay. All right. For me, I think the big pro for me, like, it was kind of fun trying to figure out this world.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, so it's not, like, right off the bat I was thrown off.
Right.
It wasn't what I was expecting. And I was trying to figure out the dynamics of how this world worked.
Right.
Because the cops seem to be pretty isolated. It doesn't seem like they have much support. And there's more of a ragtag sheriff and deputy group than a police force.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of small townish. And then you had the stereotypical biker gang show up and take over a town.
Yeah.
And it was kind of just fun, like, the environment itself was kind of fun because you had, like, it was just such an empty place with so much chaos.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just enjoyed, like, watching, like, the environment around them was just fascinating to me. Yeah.
That's kind of one of my pros as well, was just the setting. That a lot of because it is very rural, you know, and kind of where we live, there are big chunks of rural land that you can drive through, just cornfields or big open fields that seems kind of familiar for me, you know, and a lot of what I see with this movie. So but it's so strange, like, and I don't know if it's possible to go from, you know, these wide open prairies to the next day, you know, the coast where the beaches are, and, you know, the woods and all that stuff. But so it's not what I've seen of Australia before. I think when people think Australia, it's desert and Sydney, you know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just that, like, emptiness is kind of frightening.
Yeah.
Like the absence of people and anything just makes you on edge and kind of wary.
Right.
Like, why is there nobody here? Something must be off.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just like the sort of feel that.
Yeah. You got a third pro?
Well, the obvious one was the stunt work.
Okay.
Specifically the car chases and motorcycles.
Yeah.
I just thoroughly enjoyed them. I mean, some of them were a little over the top, and cuts were kind of weird. But
yeah, they definitely, it shows their budget, I think, a little bit, and just their limitations.
Yeah, I took that into account, so...
Yeah, but for the time, I mean...
I'm comparing it to James Bond.
Yeah.
It just seems to be so much better than that, to me, considering what they had to work with. It was captivating, like, watching the chase scenes.
Yeah, for sure. It's definitely way better chase scenes than we've seen in any of the Bond movies, and really, I think the most, driving that we've seen in any of our movies so far.
Oh, well, yeah, I was expecting that coming in.
Sure.
I knew it was based around vehicles somewhat.
Right.
Yeah, that was the big no duh.
Yeah, right on. My third pro is just Toe Cutter and his gang. Toe Cutter stole the movie for me. Like, he was more interesting than Max was. What I like about them so much is that they don't appear to have any motives, any rules, really. They don't hesitate, It's like there's nothing driving them, but they're still, like, hell-bent on just creating this chaos. So
yeah, I think it's just their motivation is just either feeding their, like, weird vision of the world.
Yeah.
Like, they just think that this is how it should be,
Yeah.
We are the gods of this road, or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
Like, it was just feeding into what they thought the world should be.
Sure.
And, I mean, they're kind of Joker-esque.
That's what I came around to, is that the Joker from The Dark Knight is very much like these guys. Yeah. So, very much. I wouldn't be surprised if, when they were developing that Joker character, they said, okay, watch Mad Max and pay attention to Toe Cutter,
But yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was definitely fun to watch.
Yeah. Any cons?
I think it's Mad Max himself.
Yeah.
He was kind of like, I wrote down that he's kind of like a light switch. He's on and he's off. Like,
yeah.
He's not like very, I don't know, it's almost like he's bipolar.
Huh.
Like, he's one way in one scene, and then it's one way completely in another scene. And then once his family gets killed, the switch is just stuck in the on position, as in,
right.
I'm mad as hell. And
yeah,
it's just like the switch got stuck as soon as his family got killed. Because, like you said in the beginning, he kills a dude, then he feels bad about it. But at the time, he looks like a cold-blooded assassin, like, coming at him eating chicken.
Yeah.
And then he's hanging out with his family and happy-go-lucky. Like, you wouldn't think the same guy could play that game of chicken.
Right.
Like, he's acting like he doesn't have anything to lose right off the bat when he actually does.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird to me. I don't know. His character was kind of confusing.
Yeah.
Because the way he was portrayed as like this unstoppable interceptor didn't make sense with the family guy.
Right.
So, I don't know.
I mean, that's pretty much what I had. He just, to me, felt like a side character. He did not feel like the main character of this movie. Especially with things that happened with Goose and, just how outperformed he was by Toe Cutter,
I mean, even, what's his face, Johnny the Boy was...
Yeah, he was more interesting. Yeah.
I like the scene where Johnny the Boy was, like, lighting his arm on fire, and then he, like, immediately said, oh, whoa, wait, no.
Yeah.
like, I thought it was going to be one of those badass scenes where he just burns his arm, and he just immediately takes it away.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know, Mad Max was just bizarre to me. You have any cons?
I mean, basically I had that same one as you. I already talked about this one, that just the randomness or the... I don't know how the gang just randomly ran into Jess. Yeah. That feels like a big plot hole, or they were somehow onto Max's trail, but we don't ever see that. So I don't know if it was random or if they were pursuing them, because they don't seem to be actively after them.
Yeah.
So that at that point, anyways. Yeah. So that was to me just a minor con.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have any other ones.
Okay. Fair enough. I don't think we're gonna do the villainous heroic thing because.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could.
It's obvious that it's the gang running down Jess and Sprague. I mean.
Yeah, and lighting Goose on fire.
Yeah.
I guess the most heroic was probably Goose saving the girl and standing up for her and trying to keep Johnny the boy in jail as the most heroic.
Okay, that's interesting because I had something different.
He was the only one that gave a crap, it seemed like.
Yeah. Mine was the grandmother and Jess trying to run from, trying to get away from the gang.
Yeah, it took points away from Granny because she told him to run.
Yeah.
She just stayed in the car.
Right.
That thing was built like a tank.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I mean, it's not exactly a difficult thing to spot out, so...
Yeah. It's not really worth, too much discussion, so yeah.
Yeah, we pretty much just did it right there.
Yeah.
So, you want to get into ratings then?
Yeah, I would think your kind of overall thoughts and ratings.
Okay. This one was tough. As I was watching it, it kept my attention, even though I'm kind of nitpicking here and there.
Sure.
But even the boring part, I was still waiting for something bad to happen because it was just so cheerful. I was just like, okay, where's the hatchet going to fall? I just kept waiting for something to happen. So it kept my interest for that alone. And the first act was just thoroughly enjoyable. Like, I just loved the whole thing.
Yeah.
Third act, I wish it would have lasted a little longer. The whole planning and the revenge section.
Yeah.
Because it just happened so damn quick. So
totally.
I'd probably give this... I give it a solid 3.75. I wanted to give it a 4, but the ending just was too quick for me. Like, the first act built it up so much that it was kind of disappointing.
Right.
That, like, okay, all this happens in, like, the span of 15 minutes.
I know.
I was like, damn. So.
Yeah, as I was telling you earlier, that I kind of scanned through the movie, this afternoon or this evening before we recorded, that, I watched the first 15 minutes and then I scanned through the middle part and then I basically watched the last 15 minutes. And that entire, like, once his wife and kid are gone, it's like 20 minutes and it's over and it's a fast ending.
Yeah.
So it is paced so damn strangely.
So yeah, I wanted to give it a 4, but that ending just threw it all out of whack for me.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I mean, I'm kind of right there with you. I think I would have given it a 4. But I mean, overall, I appreciate how unique this movie is and what they are able to do with, you can tell it's a low budget. I could look it up. I'm pretty certain it's a pretty low budget. The driving effects are like nothing we've seen so far. Yeah. They could definitely show their budget with scenes like the bikes going over the bridge when they wreck. Like, it just cuts to the bikes are being thrown over. So clearly they can't show, how they actually get flung over. So, and I accept limitations like that and understand it completely, and it doesn't take away from it. But at the same time, those kind of cuts, I know why they do that, But on the second and now kind of third viewing of this in so many weeks, it's so much slower paced in that middle section than I remembered from when I first watched the movie, back in like December.
It had a $200,000 budget.
Wow. And that's, so that's impressive for what they could accomplish,
Yeah. And so, I don't know how much that really is in 1979 money in Australia.
Right, yeah.
So,
yeah.
But, yeah.
I mean, so yeah, like I was saying, like I want to kind of give it a 4, but I think just because of the pacing, I ended up with a 3.5. So
nice.
We're right there, real close together. So it's like a 3.625 average.
Okay.
So I think it's totally worth watching. It's one that I'll watch this one again.
Hey, it made $100 million worldwide.
Nice.
That's crazy. 8.7 here in the U.S. Wow.
I wonder what its Rotten Tomato score is.
I'll check that out real quick. Yeah, it seems to have done pretty well, though. I mean, as far as box office, it's pretty impressive. I mean, a majority obviously was outside the U.S., but
sure,
if we only had 8.5 of 100 million, I opened up Rotten Tomatoes and it's freaking Captain Kirk yelling "Khan."
Oh yeah,
Khan. That's a terrifying face. Apparently, Mad Max 90%.
Okay.
So it's highly rated on.
Nice.
Because Fury Road, which has been told to be like one of the best movies made, is a 97.
Huh.
For the Fury Road. Wow.
Yeah.
Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, is a 98.
Yeah.
And Mad Max Beyond Thunderdorm's an 81.
Oh wow, it's higher than I would give it.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it may just be a love of the franchise.
Could be, yeah.
But yeah, they're all they're probably the highest rated ones we've seen. Other than Star Wars.
We've definitely got some 4s,
No, I meant.
Oh, you mean as far as
Tomatoes? Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's probably
aren't that high. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I think the highest Bond was like maybe an 88 or 89.
Yeah, I imagine. As far as the ones we've done, probably not that.
I think Gold.
I don't know. Goldfinger and From Russia with Love are probably pretty high, but.
Yeah, I mean 3 out of the 4 in the 90s and the high 90s at that. So that's impressive.
And for basically being almost an independent film, I mean I think it probably the first one is considered independent. I think.
So, yeah, I mean overall it's a fun movie to watch.
Yeah.
I mean I enjoyed watching it. It's just I don't think I'd ever watch it again really.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I don't see myself watching it again, honestly. So Goldfinger was 96%. So.
Okay.
So yeah, you want to talk about the next movie on the docket?
Yeah, the next one we're kind of gonna deviate. We got like a special episode next. We just through conversations on Twitter, got in contact with, this guy got in contact with us about. He offered us his movie to watch and review. So the movie is called Love in the Time of Monsters, and so he reached out to us, said gave us the link to watch it, and so I don't know if we want to pull back the curtain and reveal that we've already done that episode, and we're skipping through time right now and. Doing this episode, so
Yes, I've parked my DeLorean and jumped through time and space to watch.
Yeah,
Love in the Time of Monsters, aka the Squatch Chronicles.
Yeah, if people want to, the best place to find where to watch the movie is it's tbcfilms.com/watch. All the links can be found there. I think it's available VOD, and it's been out for a few years. I think we figured out it was made in maybe 2014 and it came out in 2015.
Yeah, but definitely give it a watch so you can and listen to the recap because we do spoil it a little bit.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely one that we didn't have the time necessarily to watch it separately and then take notes and then so we sat down, we watched it together, we took some notes throughout the movie, and then instantly right after we recorded our kind of our review. So
it's more of a reaction show.
A review kind of.
I mean,
yeah, it's definitely a little bit different format. Like, we didn't get into the act breaks or any of that stuff. So, but yeah, so look up Love in the Time of Monsters. You know,
if you like,
it's out there.
What are some comparable movies? Like, well, obviously there's Wolf Cop, which you can watch on Netflix.
Yeah, I would compare it to Zombievers and a little bit of Wolf Cop. It's got a little bit of an Evil Dead, you know,
the humor.
It's a Cabin in the Woods kind of movie, so it's in that horror genre, you know. So it's a little deviation from what we normally talk about, but you know, it was definitely a cool. I mean, I'll give a shout out to Andy Gunn. He's the producer of the movie who got in contact with us via Twitter. So, and he is you can find him on Twitter at Gun for Hire. It's GUNN for Hire. So,
nice.
Yeah.
With a name like that, you gotta.
I mean, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. So, yeah, and I'll definitely provide some links to where to find that in the show notes of this episode, and then it'll be on the website too. So,
all right, sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway.
Anyways.
So Love in the Time of Monsters. Check it out.
Yep.
It'll be more of a reaction piece than a review.
Yeah.
But it was a fun movie to watch.
Definitely.
I'd recommend watching it with somebody.
Oh yeah, it's definitely a group watch kind of movie.
So I know you kids don't hang out in reality anymore, so FaceTime and watch it together.
Yeah. Take Pokemon breaks every couple minutes to go chase down, you know.
Hey, you never know when a cockachoo or whatever shows up.
Nice.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. Well done.
It probably is a Pokemon, I don't even know.
Yeah. I guess in the meantime, you know, we could use some love on, you know, an iTunes review you could throw our way, or, you know, hit us up on Twitter, let us know what you think of the show, and, you know, little Facebook likes, yeah, that'd be nice. So, you know,
hey, don't be stingy.
Yeah, come on, it takes 5 minutes.
If that.
Yeah.
Freaking kids nowadays, I've seen their thumbs. They're moving it like a mile a minute.
These kids today have well-defined thumbs.
God, pretty soon the fingers are going to go away and we're just going to have thumbs.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I just watched WALL-E.
Never seen it.
Oh, it is scary how close we are to it.
Really?
Oh, I'm terrified.
Oh.
Like, I thought that when I first saw it, and now that I've seen it again, I'm like, oh, geez, we're even closer.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I recommend watching that, Travis.
Okay.
It's an eye-opener. Talk about dystopian future. Yeesh.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay.
So, yeah,
maybe I'll check it out.
Yeah. So, get ready for some squatchiness, and we'll see you on the next episode, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus Christ. You are not allowed to hunt on the grounds of a family vacation destination.
Uncle Slaughter's all-American family lot was meant for you and me.
I want to get her on my waterbed and part a Red Sea like Moses.
Nice.
How lucky we are. A live Sasquatch of fantasy.
That's Wes, yo. Call it in,
Luke.
You would have done your job. None of this.
Surprise, Johnny. What is that?
Things like lives depend on it.
guys are monsters who want to kill and eat us.
They find it easier to track a moving target than a still one.
Like Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
Put it back!
Mom?
This is new.
We love family vacation!
Are there any guests coming in tomorrow?
Oak Ridge School for Deaf Children.